So what kind of superpower would you like if you could have a superpower? Now, I'm sure you guys have probably heard that question throughout your entire life, starting from when you were a kid up to whatever age you are watching this video right now. But I think we all know for a fact that if humans were to really have superpowers IRL, then shit will get bad. And there are a lot of iterations of powers in multiple forms of media that actually explain this. A prime example of this comes from the show Avatar: The Last Airbender. So in the show, there are 4 categories of powers and 4 forms of bending, which are earth bending, water bending, fire bending, and air bending. Now, traditionally in the beginning, everyone was just chilling with these powers, but again, having powers plus having the evil motivations that humans do became a very destructive and conflict-ridden type of thing. A prime example of this being the Fire Nation in the show, as again, firebending itself is not evil, but if you pair that with ambition, the desire to become this global power and making it a weapon of mass destruction, then yeah, things are gonna happen. That's quite literally the reason the show even started, because they eradicated the entire race of air nomads. And we can't forget about the whole Ba Sing Se situation with the Earth Nation, where they quite literally were just kidnapping random earthbenders on the streets and training them to become a military type of force, and doing this out of their own will to their own citizens. They're doing this crazy shit to their own citizens, bro. Not even trying to take over. Like, come on, bro. That's too wild. This type of dynamic doesn't only affect people getting oppressed by people with these powers, but even the liberator himself, the Avatar, as Aang is constantly crushed by the responsibility of having to save the world, the fear of failing everyone, again technically, the loss of his childhood, and the isolation from the normal life that he was supposed to have. I mean, even in Legend of Korra, and yes, reason Legend of Korra, when we had a flashback of Avatar 1, we literally see that people have been fighting each other since forever. I mean, even since the first Avatar, as soon as people got powers, they immediately were on bullshit. So that just goes to show that if the person that's supposed to liberate you, quite literally each generation is getting tired of this, then there's a problem going on. Another show that quite literally describes this whole thing, and I really could use this show for the whole video, but I might as well use, a couple more, is The Boys from Prime Video. With the Boys universe quite literally being a parody of all the other Marvel universes, and basically telling people what would happen if real people with, that lived in our world were to actually gain abilities. And you get to see that clear as day. For example, the powerhouse known as Homelander, who's the Boys version of Superman, is emotionally immature, desperate for approval, and in the show is constantly known as a man baby because he still has very much childlike tendencies, because he's quite literally stunning his growth due to the fact he's had powers his whole life. And due to that, that's the reason the whole show even began, as he's a villain just doing the most absurd wild shit because there's no rain on him. And the so-called rain he does have on him is kind of like a phantom rain. Like, it's something he only allows to be there because of the fact that he still wants to be perceived as a good person to people, despite the fact we and everyone else knows he's a terrible one. And even if we're to push aside the individuals who are just evil and then gain powers on top of that, we have to remember that there are huge companies trying to commercialize and monopolize off this power as well, as they're trying to turn people into celebrities, military assets, advertising tools, and just push these crazy propagandas just to get richer in the show. And it makes heroism, the whole thing that we're supposed to be about, a secondary thing to just rating, stock value, and media control. Like, imagine if Disney had their own real life superhero with powers. Like, you understand how the world would be ran. There would be no such thing as a government. It'd just be Disney, and Disney. By the way, Disney, please don't take this down. I fuck with y'all movies and shows. Lastly, a show that actually showcases the cons of superpowers pretty well is the anime known as My Hero Academia. And in my personal opinion, I believe they did it the best, as they started off in like a more vibrant type of light, explaining powers and showing the idealistic way of how it's supposed to be, but they gradually show the cracks in the world and how fucked up things really are. Firstly, in their world, society becomes obsessed with power, as in MHA, your worth is literally what your quirk is. So if you have a trash quirk, it's fries, bro. So it's a common thing in the show for children to be judged extremely early based off their strength, usefulness, combat potential, and popularity. And it's showcased quite a bit in the show, starting off with one of the protagonists, Shoto Todoroki, as his father literally met his mom solely so he could have Shoto Todoroki and make him the strongest hero in the world. And after that, he's been training since he was a kid, having no real childhood, to be honest. Another victim to this in this show was a girl named Eri, who, by the way, she's a child in this, is getting her blood extracted because of her quirk that led her to be able to turn things back in time. So she can hypothetically reverse a bullet wound or anything else that might have damaged you in any type of way. And this just goes to show the evil that people are willing to do just to, I don't know, be able to monopolize off of someone else's ability. And one of the biggest villains in the show, Tomura Shigaraki, becomes a dangerous individual really because of the fact society ignored him as a suffering child because it was too late. As again, in this show, looks and what your quirk is basically determines how your life will be, meaning that again, he didn't get the proper help he needed. As for those who don't know, his ability is the ability of decay, meaning he can quite literally destroy any and everything. And because of that, it's somewhat disfigured his face, and in the typical world, people would try to help such a kid, but again, because everyone's scared because of his powers and also his looks, he gets dismissed everywhere. And now he's literally working with All For One. Actually, not even working, the guy's the protege. Lastly, a big effect of this that's shown in the show is probably the worship of heroes, as the people that don't have powers in the world, they just worship the heroes as they believe that they're always going to be there for them, save them. But they don't understand that these heroes are Homo sapiens just like them. They're people that are going to get tired, exhausted, be selfish, and have emotional flaws. And this is something that's tackled throughout the show quite a bit. And what I love in the show is that you get to see the public begin to change their perception of them. Not in a negative light, but in a more understanding way, to understand that, yeah, this guy is literally just me if he had a better power. That's all it is. So that's a really big thing that I fuck with in the show. Anyways, y'all, appreciate you guys if you're to get to the end of the video. My fault I haven't posted in like, I don't know, it might be 2 weeks today. But hey, it's coming out. It's coming out, bro. Relax. Pause. Anyways, y'all, hope God's blessing you the way He's been blessing me, y'all. Stay prayed up and stay safe out there, man.